Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. My name is Mal and I am the owner and maker of Made by MANIANDMAL. In this episode of our 12 Days of Christmas video series, we're going to be taking a full vinyl wrap, putting that on a tumbler, and then kind of sprucing it up a little bit with just a few added elements. This is really simple and easy to put together and really makes for a nice, if you have a last minute gift or something you need to put together quickly, or if you just have a sheet of vinyl that you really want to use but you want to add just a little bit of something extra to it. So I really hope you enjoy the video. I love how this cup turned out and I hope you do as well. You know the drill. If you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and if you want to be notified every single time I upload a brand new video, make sure you hit that bell notification icon as well. All the products I'm using are linked down below in the description box as always, so be sure to check that out if you want to know where I got all of the things I'm using in this video. Okay, I hope you enjoy. Let's go! We're starting with a full sheet of vinyl from SmashingInkVinyl.com. It's this really pretty winter scene, and I was super inspired when I saw it. And we're going to be using a 30-ounce skinny straight tumbler from Craft Haven. So the first thing I'm going to do is trim off the edge of my vinyl, that black strip with the Smashing Ink Vinyl branding on it. And now I'm going to peel back one little piece of this vinyl and cut off a little sliver of the backing. The thing with vinyl wraps is that you want to keep the backing on as long as possible, just to protect the adhesive part and so you don't mess up your pattern vinyl or your printed vinyl. This stuff isn't super cheap, so you just want to make sure that you are able to do it once and do it the right way. So what I'm doing is basically testing to make sure that this is going to wrap around straight, and then I'm taking that little sliver of the vinyl that doesn't have the backing on it and I'm adhering it to my cup. I didn't do my straight line ruler trick with this wrap. I just kind of tested the image because I want this to be as seamless as possible. This isn't a seamless piece of vinyl, but I wanted the image to match up the best I could get it to, so you don't really see a seam in the end. Once I have it the way I like it, I'm going to apply it the same way I always do. I got a pretty big bubble there. I'll fix that. I'm going to slowly smooth the vinyl onto my cup with my thumbs, and then I'm pushing the backing off of the vinyl in the process. So any vinyl that's not adhered to my cup still has the backing on it, as you can see there. And once I get to the end where the seams are meeting up, I'm going to kind of just estimate and see where it might go. And for this one, I ended up cutting off the vinyl that I had placed on the cup because I liked this other side better, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of pulling it up here, and I'm going to pull off that little strip that I trimmed with my X-Acto knife, and then I'll have the remaining piece of vinyl that's still on the backing that will finish off our wrap. You could totally just wrap over it if you wanted to, but I didn't want to see that thick seam in this. I wanted them to meet up almost as evenly as possible. So I'm just going to continue pushing this on, remove the backing once I get to the end, and you can see a little bit where the seam meets up, so I'm going to just trim off a little bit more to try to get this a little bit more seamless. And you can see there, you can barely tell that there's a seam, which is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm going to go through and take my craft knife, which has a pretty sharp point on it. This is a pretty new blade. And I'm just going to pop any bubbles. You just poke a tiny little hole in the bubble and then rub the air out, and you can't even tell that anything was there. So then for the top, I'm going to finish the way I always do with vinyl wraps. I'm going to pull the vinyl up tightly over that top rim and then take my knife and just slice off all of that excess vinyl from the top. For the bottom of the cup, I am going to trim off a little bit more than I normally would. I'm going to do it a little differently. I want to put some glitter on the ground part of this for some snow. So I trimmed off the excess vinyl up kind of onto the side of the cup, as you can see. And now I'm taking some blue painter's tape and I'm going to tape off this entire bottom portion so I can create a stencil for our ground part of this scene. Then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and just kind of cut a random ground pattern here. I don't want a perfectly straight line, but I don't want it to be too hilly or mountain-y. I'm just going to cut kind of randomly, as you can see here, around the bottom of my cup. And once I'm done cutting, I'm going to remove the bottom portion of the tape, the bottom piece, and we'll be left with our stencil for the ground of this scene. So now I'm going to add another piece of tape up top, and then I wrapped the rest of my cup in saran wrap, and I'm going to paint the bottom of my cup with flat white spray paint from Rustoleum, and we're going to use Frost from PDB as our snow, and I'm using the spray paint as my adhesive, so you want to make sure that you have your parchment paper ready and your glitter ready to go so you can come in and glitter immediately after you're done painting. So then I'm going right in with the super fine glitter. Frost is the perfect snow color, like look at that, perfect snow. Then I'm going to get rid of my saran wrap and all of my tape, and we will be ready to move on to the next step. Make sure you are really careful as you're removing your tape, especially on this bottom portion. You don't want to lift up any of your vinyl or pull up anything. So just be really, really careful as you do this. Go super slowly and just really take your time. Make sure you don't ruin this beautiful vinyl that you just placed down. I'm going to let this dry about an hour or 2 hours, and then I'm going to add a coat of epoxy. This coat of epoxy is very, very thin. I only added maybe like 5 to 10 milliliters, and I added just a little sprinkle of Bright from Peachy Olive Glitters into the epoxy. This is really just serving as almost an epoxy method glitter application, not so much a real like full coat of epoxy. I let that spin about 10 minutes, and then I went in with Diamond from PDB, and I'm going to create some little snowfall with this glitter. So I'm taking it and doing like a waterfall ombre effect down from the top rim of the cup. And I'm so sorry this is out of frame. I don't know what happened, but I'm basically doing like 1/2 of an ombre. So I'm just going to lightly sprinkle from the top rim down into the bottom. You can do as much or as little as you want. And it's essentially just like an ombre, but you don't do the bottom color. I'm adding a little bit more Diamond onto the bottom portion where we added the frost, because the snow's falling and it needs to land somewhere. So I let that spin and cure about 4 hours, and then I went in with an actual coat of epoxy. This one was about 20 to 25 milliliters, and I'm using a little extra ink epoxy, of course, for all of my coats. It's my absolute favorite epoxy. So I'm gonna just let this spin about, I think I waited about 6 hours, went in with a second coat, and now my cup is totally smooth and ready for decals. I decided to place my decal on the back side of the cup where the seam is, because I didn't want to cover up those really pretty trees that we had on the other side. So this ended up being like a full 360 design, and there's no front, there's no back. There's something to look at on all sides. I created this I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas SVG, and I cut it out on my silhouette. This SVG is available in my digital shop on Etsy, and members of my Patreon group will get it for free. I created 2 offsets for this. The file comes with both. So I'm laying down the first one, which is the white offset, and I'm using this super cool vinyl that has a clear backing on it, which I thought was awesome. So I'm just placing this right on the top there. I didn't measure or anything, you know, I just eyeballed it. And then I'm gonna go in with this gorgeous, beautiful blue chrome vinyl from Tech Wrap Craft. It's like the perfect like icy kind of gunmetal blue. I do have a link for Tech Wrap Craft in the description box below, as well as a discount code for you. This color is, it's beautiful. So I'm just going to place this down word by word, lining it up the best I can in the middle of the white vinyl. And I almost considered just leaving it like this, just doing the white and the blue on top, but I added the silver textured metallic from Cricut as our main SVG, you know, the main file. And I'm really glad that I did, because it really gives it this really pretty, elegant, just super winter vibe. I really, really like how it turned out. And you can still see the blue underneath. Just gives it a little bit more of a lift off the cup, which I love. Once I had the decals all placed down, I did hit it with a coat of clear matte spray from Rustoleum. That really helps me with any micro bubbles showing on my vinyl after I epoxy. So I highly recommend doing that. It works better than anything else I've tried to seal my vinyl. Then I'm going to go in with my final coats of epoxy. I did 2 final coats, each about 20 milliliters a piece. And once the final coat was cured, this cup is all finished. I really love how this turned out. You guys know I love this snowy winter vibe. Oh, it just makes me feel so cozy. I really, really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and also make sure you are subscribed to our channel so you don't miss any new videos. We are in the midst of the 12 days of Christmas, so make sure you come back tomorrow for another holiday themed video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, love you. Bye. Oh man. Okay. Okay, bye.